What?
Yeah.
I must have missed this one.
Yeah, it was a few years back. He got in a lot of trouble for it, but he was
Alleged trouble.
allegedly.
Yeah,
he's out.
He got a stern talking to.
He was off the grid for a couple months.
That's a whole nother podcast, by the way. Like this guy is.
So he made a gene edited.
These technologies, a lot of the core technology around genome engineering, we did not, like Colossal did not invent those. That genie's out of the bottle. There's people that are going to use these technologies for nefarious cases, right?
And there's people that have already used these things in an unregulated way. There was a Chinese doctor that, created a gene edited child.
Yeah.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
I must have missed this one.
Yeah, it was a few years back. He got in a lot of trouble for it, but he was
alleged trouble.
Yeah, allegedly.
He's
out.
He got a stern talking to.
He was off the grid for a couple months.
That's a whole nother podcast, by the way. Like this guy is.
So he made a gene edited child. Yeah, and it's like real. It talks.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's in China, so obviously we don't have as much transparency into it.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Yeah, he probably would. Yeah, he's out there, man. But he got in a lot of trouble. Supposedly, he went to jail. Allegedly, he's out right now. But he did
germline editing.
Yeah.
In a weird series of events, there's a meme account of his on X that follows Colossal. I swear to God.
We're not certain it's a meme account.
It did get Antonio from MIT has exposed. Believe it or not, has exposed who it is. You won't believe who it is, but that's a whole nother podcast too. But
so it's not him.
It's not him actually on X, right?
It's so good though.
Yeah.
When we came out the woolly mice, it was just a picture of him and it said woolly mice are a bioweapon.
Yeah, it said woolly mice. And so he's just been trolling us, right?
It's so good.
It's so funny. But this is the kind of stuff that
this is the guy though, right?
That's the actual guy. But this is the stuff where, to your point about intended, unintended consequences and negativity, like, people, there's a general moratorium on doing germline editing, meaning edits that can be passed on to the next generation in humans, right? They're now starting to look at rule. Yeah, it's a good rule. And, but what he did obviously violated that, right? In China. And so, but this is where the technologies go, right? Like, a single, a disease like sickle cell anemia is a single gene mutation. So you can do a single knockout for that, and you can get rid of you could literally get rid of sickle cell anemia, right? And so that there are now people that are looking
one universal adjustment. You're saying
one universal adjustment, yeah. Okay. So to people that have it, but obviously that would be effective
if you're a carrier,
if you're a carrier,
it would end it.
Yep.
End the line.
Yeah. And so those are the things that now. Biotechnology companies and the U.S. government and kind of the World Health Organization, they're all looking at this, right? Because like, where do we draw the line? Where do we help, right? Where do we eradicate disease? Like, Gary Brecka will probably punch me in the face for this, but Gary's awesome. I don't know if you know Gary, but
I'm aware. Yeah.
So I love Gary. He's done a lot to like change my life and how I look at stuff. But one thing that I haven't totally not subscribed to is I do take a drug that basically turns off a PCKS9, which significantly lowers LDL. Just so my family has crazy high LDL, right? Even if we ate just nothing but kale, we'd have crazy LDL.
That was your thing too, right, Alessi? Wasn't Louisa saying you had like crazy LDL?
Yeah. So that was so you can take this shot called Repatha, and I take it. I'm not a shareholder, and I just take it, and it does lower it by about 60%, just the LDL. Doesn't fuck with triglycerides or doesn't fuck with HDL. So it was great. Now there are people that look at kind of the whole system. Gary's one of those people. So we're like I'm still looking into it, but right now I have been taking it. But that's an example where one medication, like I didn't take a gene therapy to change that. I'm taking a medication to just silence that gene.
Right.
And so that's the power though of where we're going with this technology. And I think that most diseases are multigenic in nature, meaning that there's multiple genes that have to work together to cause a disease state. Some of those are genetic diseases. Some of those are in concert with environmental factors if you have core genetic dispositions to them. And so for us, Colossal will never do that. But to your point on technology, we are working on multiplex editing. So being able not to just do that single edit to sickle cell anemia or that single PCKS9 edit, but being able to edit multiple genes at the exact same time with high efficiency. So I do think that some of the multiplex editing technologies that we're developing will have massive pharma implications. Now, the good thing for us is we're just going to license those and we'll spin those out into other companies. And then there's other people that need to work with FDA.
So it's not your fault.
We are just.
But the lawyers are happy right
It's
now.
a really good example that, in this anti-GMO world that we sort of were living in, I think we're coming out of now, is that people had this complete distrust of anything GMO. But you could take a random chemical and put it in front of somebody, and you'd say, "Oh, you have a headache? Just take that." And they're like, "Yeah, pop it." Right?
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. When Ben first came to you with this, though, Matt, like what were your thoughts? Because you're coming at it from the more.
It was over drinks.
If I do anything, it's probably a drink.
Know your
Put a
audience.
little GHB in there.
Know your audience, right?
Yeah. What were your thoughts?
Ben did some recon. He knew that the safest place to approach me was in a bar, so he did. So Ben and I had this mutual friend that sort of connected us about, and I was playing golf with this guy, and he goes, "Hey, I know this guy that's bringing back mammoths." I was like, what the fuck?
And if you know this mutual friend,
weed in Narnia.
If you know this mutual friend, that's exactly how he talks.
Yeah.
And he would bring it up. So I could see Adrian bringing it up just that weirdly casual.
He was just like, "Yeah, I know a guy bringing back mammoths." I was like, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, right? And then he was like, "No, seriously, you should talk to him." And so he connected us on text. And Ben's like, "Hey, you meet me at this place for drinks, and we'll talk about this thing." At the time,
do you remember where our first date was?
I don't remember. It was at that outdoor cafe. I don't remember what it was.
That's cute. You remember?
Yeah, I do. There was a candle.
It's 2 candles.
but they, the funny thing was that we were coming out of COVID, and I had been running a zoo in Dallas, all the animal care for the Dallas Zoo, and I was burnt out, right? It was sort of that time of like self-reflection. I mean, that's when you sort of pivoted too, right? Like you kind of have this
same.
Yeah, you have this weird. You're isolated and you're thinking a lot about yourself and the impacts that you're going to have in your life. And I was like, I was just honestly dissatisfied with the level of impact I was making on conservation and the fight against biodiversity loss.
Why though? Like because you felt like a zoo wasn't enough, or it was just like there's more out there? What was
there's more out there. There's ways to have a larger scale impact. I thought I had a very satisfying career. I had worked at big zoos in Miami and Dallas and Tampa, and I'd done a lot of fun things, met incredible people, some of the most passionate, incredible conservationists in the world. But for me, I thought I want a larger, more lasting impact. That's just who I am. I'm driven by some of that, by saying I want to have a fingerprint on a big piece of something, right? And at that time, Ben's like, "I'm making mammoths," and I was like, "This is ridiculous. I don't know what the hell you're talking about." But you said drinks. I'll meet you there. So I go out. We have drinks, and he brings it up, and I think the first reaction was sort of like, "Yeah, okay." That's cool. George Church is an impressive guy. I get it. You guys have money, which was interesting. I think at that time it was just a seed round. Yeah. And then
it is more expensive than $15 million.
It is. Turns out that was a massive underestimate. But
balance sheet problem.
but Ben, I challenged a few things. I had a few questions. Have you thought about X, Y, or Z? To Ben's credit, because we haven't thought about that. We know nothing about animals. And he goes,
we know nothing about animals, but here's a mammoth.
He says, but I think you understand what this means for conservation. I said, absolutely. And we started talking about the conservation impact. Ben, to his credit, was like, we're going to change the world for conservation. You're going to get to do it. We're going to go get more money. We're going to make more technologies. We're going to have larger impacts. And I was like, fuck it, I'm in. Let's just do this.
I asked you, I was like, the truth is we didn't know anything about animals at the time. We knew that we had some software nerds and we had some geneticists and we could try to figure some stuff out. But I think that's one of the things that we're really good at is also saying what we don't know, and we're not afraid to be like, oh, we don't have a solution to that, but it's a good feedback. The whole course of our company, like our chief science officer, Beth Shapiro, was like one of the most negative people on the planet towards Colossal when we launched. She actually wrote a book. She wrote a book before we started that says how to clone a mammoth. I don't know if you're going to read it, so I don't want to spoiler alert, but it ends with you can't. So I was like, she's perfect, right? Our head of bioethicists.
Then how much did you pay her?
No. We went to her because
I'm a ball breaker.
No, it's fine.
You're in Jersey.
Yeah. So, it's the first time in Jersey.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You never been to Jersey before?
He goes to the city all the time and doesn't cross the river.
I'm offended.
I've been to Brooklyn one time, so don't
That's not Jersey.
No, I understand it's not Jersey. I'm just saying.
Christ.
I just try to
Get out.
Yeah. But it is a cute neighborhood. But I did say to Matt, I said to Matt, we don't know these things, and we want to solve these things. And I asked him, I said, what if we could give you $50 million a year for elephant conservation? And Matt looked at me and he goes, you would completely change elephant conservation more than any. I was like,
with 50 million?
For 50 million. And I was like, can we do 50 million a year? And he goes, it would completely change everything. I was like, okay, well, we just need to get to the point where the company's making $50 million a year profit. And then let's just change all of elephant conservation. And I think that part of one of my issues in the, I guess, the brokenness in my, or non-brokenness in my neuroplasticity is that to me doesn't seem that hard.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.